I'm sure many of you saw the title of this video and your jaw dropped. You're sitting there thinking, how on earth could he be asking this question? Well, I'm asking it. Did Halloween make a mistake? Hey, what's up everybody? Nick here, and today I want to talk to you guys about the original Halloween. And I want to ask a very simple question. Did they make a mistake with the end of this film? Now, this is a really loaded question, and you could go in a ton of different directions with it. For a lot of you, if you think a mistake was made, you don't put it on those that made this movie. You put it on the future movies. For those of you that have never thought of this, maybe this will make you start to go, that's an interesting question. And for those of you who are vehemently opposed to this line of questioning in the first place, hear me out. So as we all know, at the end of the original Halloween, Michael Myers is shot 6 times by Dr. Loomis and falls off the balcony into the front yard. When Loomis approaches the balcony, Michael's body is gone. And that is the cliffhanger. That is the moment for any first-time viewer of this film that makes you go, oh my God, what is he? And that is the question that they wanted to leave you with at the end of this movie. See, Dr. Loomis spends a ton of time in this movie talking about how Michael Myers is evil incarnate, that he is not a man, he's more than a man. He is driven by a force inside of him, unlike anything anyone has ever seen. So to have the movie end off after taking 6 slugs and falling 2 stories, with him presumably getting up and walking away, is a terrifying note to leave the audience on. And it really scared a lot of people back in the day, thinking, oh my God, Michael Myers is still out there. Now the first thing to tackle with this ending here is Donald Pleasance's reaction to it. John Carpenter has famously told the story that Donald asked him how he wanted him to play it. Do you want me to be surprised, or do you want me to give a look of, I knew this would happen? And John said, oh, that's interesting. Do both. And Donald does do a little bit of both. The initial reaction is, OMG, and then quickly morphs into, son of a bitch, I knew this would happen. Now, I think that's a mistake personally, and Donald did too. He was asking John Carpenter, but he knew the correct way to react to that, which was, I knew this would happen. But Donald gives a little bit of both, and the surprise at the beginning, I've never been a fan of. But I love where it leaves us, that it morphs into that cold, I knew this would happen look. So the initial reaction that Donald gives was a mistake in my opinion, but quickly turns out fine. He course corrects. I've often wondered for years if John Carpenter truly knew what he was setting up with the end of this movie, because he and Deborah Hill have famously said they did not discuss a sequel at all. At the time, sequels weren't even really a thing. The ending of this movie was just supposed to leave everybody frightened and give you the idea that that specter of evil is still lurking out there. But this kind of ending is the reason that Halloween became a franchise. Because when there is finality to a character in pretty much any movie, a lot of times you can take that as your off-ramp to say, okay, we're done, that's it. We told the story we needed to, it wrapped up nicely, and that's it. But with this movie, it didn't wrap up nicely. So the fact that just a couple years later, John Carpenter was surprised to be asked to come back for a sequel and to say that he had never even thought of it has always surprised me, because John left this open-ended. Look, we're humans. Everything in life has finality to it. We always know an end to everything, which is ironic because a lot of us, like myself, struggle with the idea of death, because throughout our lives, everything ends. Songs end, movies end, days end. So when any kind of story has a conclusion that is very open-ended, it is naturally going to make all of us wonder what happened next. There is this innate desire in all of us for closure. We want clarity. We want resolution. That is just something that we seek throughout all aspects of our lives, even if we don't know we're doing it. So naturally, in 1978, when this movie came out and everybody was left with that kind of ending, everybody was wondering what was going to happen next. And throughout the years, many purists have said the biggest mistake that was made with the Halloween franchise is the fact that it ever became a franchise in the first place. You'll hear that a lot. Many will say that this was a perfect movie that did not need a continuation whatsoever, and every single film after the original has only diluted the greatness of that original film. Now, I vehemently disagree with that. You could make 1,500 Halloween movies, and they could be varying levels of shit, and it would not take away from the absolute magnificence that is John Carpenter's 1978 Halloween. It's a masterpiece. But if you happen to be someone that thinks that them turning this into a franchise is the single biggest mistake they could have made, then I guess my question is for you. Do you think the end of Halloween was a mistake? Because sure, some might say, you didn't have to make a sequel. You could have left this open-ended. That is scary. We've had many movies do that before. But to that same point, I would say you can't get upset with anybody for wanting more, expecting more, and then getting more. It's a natural progression. If this character is still alive, if everything that we were told about this character in the original movie has now been proven to be true, he truly is more than a man, then of course we're going to want resolution there. We're going to keep seeking it. That's why we come back sequel after sequel after sequel, hoping that we're going to get that resolution, but at the same time not wanting it because we don't want to say goodbye to this character. And believe me, as I'm unraveling this to you guys, I'm thinking about this myself, and it's kind of blowing my mind because it didn't need any sequels. That is true, but it set itself up for them. And history would tell us, based off of just human nature, we were going to get more because we were going to want more. So was it a mistake? Do you think the ending of the original Halloween was in some ways a mistake? Should it have ended conclusively to where when you walked out of that theater or you shut off that VHS, you went, that entire story was told? Me personally, I didn't want that. I think the ending of this movie reinforces everything Loomis said throughout it. And I also think that this character, just in his first movie, showed so much promise and potential that I think it would have been a crime to never give audiences the character again. And that's not to say that some of these later sequels are not the best films. That's not a secret to anybody. But I think that it was always set up from the beginning, whether John Carpenter knew it or not. But the question is for all of you guys. Do you think the ending was a mistake? If you do, why? If you don't, why not? If you're like me, where you struggle with so many aspects of this question, but ultimately land on, no, it's not, I want to hear down below. I want to hear every varying stance here. So please jump into the comment section and discuss it with me. I want to thank every single one of you guys for watching the video. Make sure to leave a like on it. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I'm pulling out.